Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jaya Gopi Janavallabha Girivaradha Hari Jaya Gopi Janavallabha Girivaradha Hari Yashodanandana Brajajanaranjana Yashodanandana Brajajanaranjana Yamunatira Vanacham Hari Yamunatira Vanacham Hari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jaya Gopi Janavallabha Girivaradha Hari Jaya Gopi Janavallabha Girivaradha Hari Yashodanandana Brajajanaranjana Yashodanandana Brajajanaranjana Yashodanandana Brajajanaranjana Yamunatira Vanacham Hari Yamunatira Vanacham Hari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jaya Gopi Janavallabha Girivaradha Hari Jaya Gopi Janavallabha Girivaradha Hari Yashodanandana Brajajanaranjana Yashodanandana Brajajanaranjana Yamunatira Vanatam Hari Yamunatira Vanatam Hari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jaya Radha Madhava Radha Madhava Radhe Jaya Radha Kunja Bihari Radha Kunja Bihari Radhe Jaya Radha Raspi Hadi Radha Raspi Hadi Radhe Jaya Radha Giridhari Radha Giridhari Radhe Jaya Radha Madan Mohan Radha Madan Mohan Radhe Jaya Radha Govinda Radha Govinda Radhe Jaya Radha Gopinata Radha Gopinata Radhe Jaya Radha Ramana Radha Ramana Radhe Jaya Radha Damodara Radha Damodara Radhe Jaya Radhe Shyam Radhe Shyam Radhe Shyam Jaya Radhe Shyam Jaya Krishna Balaram Krishna Balaram Krishna Balaram Jaya Krishna Balaram Jaya Gauranitai 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 Jaya Gauranitai Nitai Gaura Hari Bol Hari Bol Hari Bol Nitai Gaura Hari Bol Nitai Gaura Hari Bol Hari Bol Hari Bol Nitai Gaura Hari Bol Jaya Jaya Prabhupada 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 Jaya Jaya Prabhupada Jaya Vishwapad Paramaham Saparivarajagaccaya Shota Shatta Shishamatsila ऐसे भक्तिवेदांत स्वामी श्रील प्रभुपाद की जय। ओम श्रीपाद परमहंस परिव्रजगाचार्य आशुतोष शिष्यमान श्रील भक्ति सिद्धांत सरस्वती ठाकुर श्रील प्रभुपाद की अनंत कोटि वैष्णव वृंद की जय। श्री रूप श्री सनातन भक्त रघुनाथ श्री जीव गोपाल भट्ट दस रघुनाथार्य गोस्वामी प्रभु की प्रेम से को श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर शिवजरी गौर भक्त वृंद की श्री राधा कृष्ण गौ गोपाल गोपी गोपीनाथ श्याम कुंद राधा कुंद गिरि गोवर्धन की वृंदावन धाम की मथुर धाम की मायापुर धाम की जगन्नाथपुरी धाम की तुलसी महारानी भक्ति देवी की गंगा यमुना देवी की हरे नाम संकीर्तन यज्ञ की श्री श्री गौनिताय की श्री श्री कृष्ण बलराम की श्री श्री राधा श्याम सुंदर की गौर प्रेमानंदे हरे हरे बोल समवेत भक्त वृंद की all glories to the Samadevotis, all glories to the Samadevotis, all glories to Śrī Guru and Śrī Gauranga, all glories to Śrīla Prabhupada. Reading from the Bhagavad-gītā as it is, 3rd chapter, text number 30. mayi sarvāṇi karmāṇi sannyasyādhyātma-cetasā nirāśīr nirmamo bhūtvā yudhyasva vigata-jvara mayi sarvāṇi karmāṇi sannyasyādhyātma-cetasā nirāśīr nirmamo bhūtvā yudhyasva vigata-jvara mayi sarvāṇi karmāṇi sannyasyādhyātma-cetasā nirāśīr nirmamo bhūtvā yudhyasva vigata-jvara
mayi sarvāṇi karmāṇi sannyasyādhyātma-cetasā nirāśīr nirmamo bhūtvā yudhyasva vigata-jvara mayi sarvāṇi karmāṇi sannyasyādhyātma-cetasā nirāśīr nirmamo bhūtvā yudhyasva vigata-jvara mayi sarvāṇi karmāṇi sannyasyādhyātma-cetasā nirāśīr nirmamo bhūtvā yudhyasva vigata-jvara mayi sarvāṇi karmāṇi sannyasyādhyātma-cetasā nirāśīr nirmamo bhūtvā yudhyasva vigata-jvara mayi sarvāṇi karmāṇi sannyasyādhyātma-cetasā nirāśīr nirmamo bhūtvā yudhyasva vigata-jvara mayi sarvāṇi karmāṇi sannyasyādhyātma-cetasā nirāśīr nirmamo bhūtvā yudhyasva vigata-jvara mayi sarvāṇi karmāṇi sannyasyādhyātma-cetasā nirāśīr nirmamo
mayi, unto me, sarvāṇi, all sorts of karmāṇi, activities, sannyasya, giving up completely, adhyātma, with full knowledge of the self, cetasā, by consciousness, nirāśīr, without desire for profit, nirmama, without ownership, bhūtvā, so being, yudhyasva, fight, vigata-jvara, without being lethargic. Translation and purport by his evangelist Śrī Bhaktivedanta Swami. Srila Prabhupada ki. Translation: Therefore, O Arjuna, surrendering all works unto me with full knowledge of me, without desires for profit, with no claims to proprietorship, and free from lethargy, fight. Purport. This verse clearly indicates the purpose of the Bhagavad-gītā. The Lord instructs that one has to become fully Krishna conscious to discharge duties, as if in military discipline. Such an injunction may make things a little difficult. Nevertheless, duties must be carried out with dependence on Krishna, because that is the constitutional position of the living entity. The living entity cannot be happy independent of the cooperation of the Supreme Lord, because the eternal constitutional position of the living entity is to become subordinate to the desires of the Lord. Arjuna was therefore ordered by Śrī Kṛṣṇa to fight as if the Lord were his military commander. One has to sacrifice everything for the goodwill of the Supreme Lord, and at the same time discharge prescribed duties without claiming proprietorship. Arjuna did not have to consider the order of the Lord. He had only to execute his order. The Supreme Lord is the soul of all souls. Therefore, one who depends solely and wholly on the Supreme Soul, without personal consideration, or in other words, one who is fully Krishna conscious, is called adhyātma-cetās. Nirāśīḥ means that one has to act on the order of the Master, but should not expect fruitive results. The cashier may count millions of dollars for his employer, but he does not claim a cent for himself. Similarly, one has to realize that nothing in the world belongs to an individual person, but that everything belongs to the Supreme Lord. That is the real purport of mayi, or unto me. And when one acts in such Krishna consciousness, certainly he does not claim proprietorship over anything. This consciousness is called nirmama, or nothing is mine. And if there is any reluctance to execute such a stern order, which is without consideration of so-called kinsmanship in the bodily relationship, that reluctance should be thrown off. In this way, one may become vigata-jvara, or without feverish mentality or lethargy. Everyone, according to his quality and position, has a particular type of work to discharge, and all such duties must be discharged in Krishna consciousness as described above. That will lead one to the path of liberation. Vandeham Sri Guru Sri Uttapadakamalan Sri Gurun Vaishnavamscha Sirupam Sagrajatam Sagana Raganatan Vitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadutam Parijana Saitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Sri Radha Krishna Padan Sahagana Lalita Sri Vishakanvitamscha He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dinabandhu Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namastate Tapta Ganjana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhanu Sude Devi Pranamami Hari Priye Vanchakalpatrubhyascha Kripa Sindhubhya evacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha Śrī Kṛṣṇa Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Śrī Advaita Gadadhara Śrīvāsadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ramo 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 Hare Hare. So in this chapter, Krishna is explaining about karma yoga, performing one's prescribed duty, but also at the same time connected with Krishna, working for the pleasure of the Lord. So specifically here in this verse, he's saying that sarvāṇi karmāṇi, that all your activities, you should do mayi, you should do for me, you should offer to me. He has also explained previous verses that if one is engaged in material activities, so one should not disturb that person because he's engaged in some activity according, especially if it is according to the scriptures also, if it is according to Vana Ashram, so the person should be encouraged to work, but then also he should be encouraged to work for the pleasure of the Lord. Or if not fully, then at least he should give some of the result for the pleasure of the Lord. But first class is to give everything to the Lord, as explained in this verse here. So whatever should be done for Krishna. Then also sannyasyādhyātma-cetasā, that one should give up the material conception, identification with this material body, with this material world. Adhyātma. So one has to be conscious of the self, Atma. So that is the first thing one has to understand in spirit life. That I am not this body, I am not this gross body or the subtle body, I am spirit soul, beyond this material world. So one should try to be situated on the platform of the soul, on the spiritual platform. That is also known as sambandha jnana. One must know that the Supreme Lord is existing beyond this material world, in the spiritual realm, and one should know that we ultimately have nothing to do with this material world, and that we have a relationship with the Supreme Lord, and that we have to try to be fully surrendered to Krishna and to become free from this material existence. So that is the first step. And then the second is actually to engage practically in spiritual activities. That is known as abhideya jnana. So the process, what is the process? That is known as sadhana bhakti. So cetasā, so here, especially with the consciousness, it is not that simply with the body we have to be active, or even in regards to devotional service, not that we simply perform some activity, whatever it may be, but it should be done consciously. And again, with this sambandha gyan, that I am spiritual, I am the servant of Krishna, and whatever I am doing, so that is for the pleasure of Krishna foremost. And then naturally there will be some pleasure for us also, for the individual living being, soul. So therefore here it is also mentioned, nirāśīr, without desire for profit, asha, so hope, hope to get something, some result. So that is natural. If one is doing something, one wants to be successful, one wants to have a result. But it should be for the pleasure of the Lord. Anyabhilashitam sunyam jnana karmanavritam anukulina krishnanushiranam bhaktiruttamam. This is a famous verse from the Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu, the Nectar of Devotion by Rupa Goswami. That is explaining that we should act for the pleasure of Krishna. And then anyabhilashita sunyam, anya abhilash. There should be no other desire, abhilash. Sunya, zero. Only acting for Krishna's pleasure. Jnana karma navritam. So not desiring to become knowledgeable, to become a great devotee even, or so trying to do some activity and then getting the result. So we should become free from that. Anukulina krishnanushilanam. Anukul should be favorable for Krishna's pleasure. Anushilanam, not how we think, but we should not do what we wish to do, but what Krishna wants to do. So that we have to find out from the spiritual master in the beginning. And then in purified consciousness, then we will understand what Krishna wants us to do. Anya abhilashita sunyam jnana karmanavritam anukulina krishnanushiranam bhaktiruttamam. So that is Uttam Bhakti, pure devotional service. So we have to try to come to this platform ultimately, slowly but surely. And nirmama, mama, aham mameti, I and mine, nir. So without, nir is negation. Mama, so that means ownership, I am my, aham mameti. So we should be always acting for Krishna's pleasure. We should try to see Krishna and try to see everything related to Krishna and Krishna everywhere. And this conception that I'm, even as a devotee, I'm the president, temple president, and so these are my family members, and if he is a householder, and then concerned about his position and his well-being. So even as a devotee, we have to become free from this aham mameti. But we should do everything in the mood of das anudas. I am the servant of the servant of the servant of Krishna, the beloved of the gopis. So we act for Krishna's pleasure, but in a humble mood. That I am the servant of Krishna. And everything belongs to Krishna. Everything has to be engaged in Krishna's seva. As Bhaktivinoda Thakur was explaining also in his songs or in his books, that whatever is so-called mine, whatever I have in my possession, my house, my wealth, my wife, my children, Tuvarpilum, I'm offering to you, Krishna, Gopinath. Everything belongs to you. But somehow, I'm the tech, it is with me for the time being, but one should be in the mood of caretaker. So, we should not think ultimately it is my, even my body, my house, my family, my temple. But everything belongs to Krishna and I'm simply the temporary caretaker. Of course, sometimes for practical reason we have to say also this is my body and this is my house. If one is living somewhere and then somebody is asking, so whose house is it? So then of course we may say it is Krishna's house, but at the same time then the house usually will be in the name of oneself or maybe one of the family members for practical reason. And then when one is older, then it will be transferred to the name of the son or the daughter or whatever. So some identity is here in this material world, but we should understand what is our true identity. And therefore in one verse also Rupa Goswami is explained, Seva sadhaka rupena siddha rupena chatrahi tad bhavalipsana kaya vrajalokana sarataha. Our devotional service is actually twofold. One is as a sadhaka. I'm a practicing devotee. I'm performing devotional service for the pleasure of the Lord. And but Rupa Goswami so specifically is mentioned that brajalokana sarataha, following the Brijbasis or those who have actually Brajabhav. So we are known as Rupanuga Vaishnavas, we are known as followers of Rupa Goswami, who of course was staying here in Braj for so many years and writing transcendental literatures for the benefit of us, the conditioned souls. And there, fulfilling the desire of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu to reveal the lost holy places in Braj and to write transcendental literatures, especially in regards to Braja Bhakti, devotional service towards Krishna, Brajeshwar, Krishna, and Brajeshwari, Srimati Radharani. And in more purified consciousness, Siddha Rupena Chatrahi, then we may understand our position actually beyond this material existence as spirit soul, and then one can remember more Radha and Krishna and their associates and their pastimes, and then usually we take shelter of Rupa Manjari. So there's the external or the performance of devotional service as a practicing devotee, and then in a more advanced consciousness one will understand, not only theoretically but practical understanding is there of our spiritual nature as eternal servant of Krishna, in a specific relationship with Krishna, as a friend, as a servant, or having parental affection, or having a conjugal relationship just like the gopis. So that should be there. So nirmama, without ownership in this material world. Everything belongs to Krishna. And for example, when we do a yajna, sacrifice, that the priest, he will offer oblations and those who are participating also. And then the priest will say, Idam Krishnaya, idam namama. Idam Krishnaya, I'm offering to Krishna this ghee or this ahuti, the offerings. It is for Krishna, it is for you, Krishna. Idam Krishnaya. Idam namama. It is not for me, it is not for my pleasure. So namama, nirmama or namama, same meaning. Everything is for Krishna. Every time offering ghee or oblations, havan samagari. Idam Krishna, idam namama, idam Krishna, idam namama. So actually every second we have to offer to Krishna whatever we are doing. And the thinking should be there also, for Krishna's pleasure, for Krishna's pleasure, for Krishna's pleasure. So which is not always easy because of the overloading propensity of the conditioned soul. The conditioned soul wants to enjoy in this material world, overloaded material nature. And to give that up completely, it will take some time. But one has to practice. Day by day, year by year, or even life after life, till we attain perfection by the causeless mercy of Hari Guru Vaishnav. So, but we have to make a serious, sincere endeavor. And then, but that is not sufficient. But we need the mercy of the spiritual master, of Mahaprabhu, of Krishna. So for that we have to endeavor, and then the mercy will be there. And also, yudhyasva here, it is just before the war between the Pandavas and the Kauravas. They were all assembled here at Kurukshetra, and as mentioned in the first verse, desiring to fight. Dhritarashtra asking Sanjay, Dharma-kshetra, Kurukshetra, Samaveta yudhyasva mamaka pandavashaiva kim akurvata Sanjaya, O Sanjay. Here at this holy place, Dharma-kshetra, Kurukshetra. So it is the field of activity there, or it was there to fight, but it is a holy place also. Samaveta yudhyasva. So we are assembled here. My sons are the sons of Pandu. So here, of course, important point also is that without being lethargic, one should always be ready to act, because it is the nature of the soul to be active. And so being in this material world also, with body and mind and words, one has to be engaged in spiritual activities and try to do as much as possible. So in the mode of goodness, one is able to be more free from this passion and ignorance. Ignorance, those who are in the mode of ignorance, tamagun, they will eat more, they will sleep more. But those in the mode of goodness, so they will eat less, they will sleep less, and they will engage in, and ultimately in spiritual activities, or activities, so they may be elevated. Activities also for the welfare of others. Sarva bhute hiterataha. So one has to try to be always active in the service of Krishna. So Arjuna, he was a kshatriya, and so it was his duty to fight. And at one point in the beginning he was not ready to fight, because on the other side his Gurujan, his spiritual masters were there, the superiors, Bhishmadev, Dronacharya, Kripacharya. They were the teachers, they were the guides of the Kauravas actually and the Pandavas. But then, due to circumstances and of course the will of the Lord, then the Kauravas were on one side and the Pandavas on the other side. And the Kauravas, by unfair means, they were trying to push the Pandavas away and not give them any space to live. Even one time Krishna was asking Duryodhana, you should give at least maybe 5 villages to the Pandavas. But he was not even ready to give this. And so therefore then there was a fight. And because the Pandavas, they were Krishna's devotees, Krishna was with them. And Krishna is the Supreme Being. And he came to establish dharma and to protect his devotees and to annihilate the miscreants. And therefore it was already assured actually, and by the intelligent persons, so they understood that wherever there is Krishna, and so then also, and the last slok of Bhagavad-gītā, yatra yogeshvara Krishna, wherever there is Krishna and wherever there is Arjuna, tatra sriya vijaya bhutir, there will be opulence and there will be victory, vijay. Because Krishna is the Supreme Lord and nobody can defeat Krishna. And the devotees of the Lord, they are always protected. Of course, sometimes some difficulties are there for the devotees also. Sometimes it may appear that they are neglected by the Lord, but no, Krishna is always protecting. And the devotees, they have faith in the Lord and they are on the spiritual platform. So for them there's never any loss or diminution, ultimately. Even some of the relatives of the Pandavas, even Abhimanyu, so he was killed. But he was actually killed in an unfair way. But we know we are all eternal servants of Krishna. And so it is only the body which is destroyed. Therefore, ultimately, so we know that many of the relatives of Krishna, of course most of the relatives here in this world, so they are associates of Krishna. But sometimes in the pastime of the Lord, so they may also live this world early age. But their devotional service is never hampered. But the pastimes are manifested of the Lord in a certain way, and the devotees are not concerned with, or they are beyond victory or loss or defeat. And they are situated on the spiritual platform and they are acting for the pleasure of the Lord. And they are accepting whatever the result is there, they will accept. And there is no grudge or no complaining. Or even sometimes neophyte devotees, they will even complain or they will say, what is this? That how come I'm suffering so much? What is this? I'm trying to serve Krishna and still have to undergo so many difficulties. No, devotee will accept everything as the Lord's mercy, ultimately. Or he will see when everything is positive, it is Krishna's mercy. If things are not working out nicely, he will think this is my misfortune. This is due to my not being able to fully surrender to Krishna. That is the position of a devotee. He is fully dependent on Krishna and he is always positive. So we have to try to surrender to Krishna, as Krishna is telling Arjuna. And so all this, actually these points which are made here by Krishna, they are important for us. So we should work for Krishna but with knowledge of me. Also in the 8th chapter he has explained to Arjuna that you should fight remembering me. So the body, tan man vacha. So the body, the words and the consciousness have to be dedicated towards Krishna. That is surrender, that is full surrender. So in the beginning, the surrendering, so we endeavoring to serve Krishna with the body and glorifying Krishna and to think of Krishna, but in the beginning, because the consciousness is not pure, therefore the surrender is also not complete. But at least we should try. And then when the consciousness is purified and we become more and more conscious of Krishna, so then the surrender will be complete. So therefore, Prabhupada is writing with full knowledge of me. So that is Krishna consciousness. Be conscious of Krishna while chanting, while serving in whatever capacity. So we should try to be conscious of Krishna. So body, mind and words have to be engaged in the service of the Lord. So constant endeavor has to be there. And then ultimately, success will be there. It is just a matter of time. Hare Krishna. Any questions? No questions. Everything is very clear. Hare Krishna. So Krishna consciousness is joyfully performed. While chanting we'll feel pleasure, and while hearing about Krishna there's pleasure, serving Krishna, there is pleasure there, there's a reciprocation with Krishna. And we always get very nice Mahaprasad. So you can come here and take some Mahaprasad. Śrī Prabhupada ki, Krishna Chandra Bhagavan.